We're doing it?
We're doing the
Oh my
thing.
God, we're doing it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. No way. Don't you know?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Here we are.
Here we are.
Wow. We're doing it. Guys, welcome to Idiot Podcast. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. I'm here with fellow Midwesterner, Lauren the Mortician. That's what you go by, Lauren the Mortician?
Yeah, that's what I've been named.
Because you're what, a mortician or something? Mm-hmm. I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah, I'm so glad that this worked out.
Yeah,
seriously.
you emailed me like, hey, do you want to talk about dead people on your podcast? And I'm like, okay.
Immediately, yes.
Immediately, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And
why are you a mortician?
It's a long story. But I grew up in a funeral home. So I was 9 months old. My parents moved to Wisconsin. And so you might hear that a little bit, obviously, at the beginning there. I grew up in the funeral home. My dad is still a mortician. I have uncles that are morticians.
But when you say you grew up in a funeral home, I'm taking that literally.
Literally.
You slept in a funeral home. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So actually, what it is, is that, so there's a big parking lot, and the funeral home was rebuilt in like the 90s or 80s.
Okay.
And then we live in the old funeral home, and it's a duplex. They converted it into a duplex. So my living room was actually where they used to have funerals.
No.
They used to embalm people in the basement. And my bedroom is where they met with families. And there's 2 bathrooms in there, and there's a kitchen with chicken wallpaper up. And
Was the chicken wallpaper always there?
my mom was really into the chickens, and like the Reba song.
Whoa. Okay. So then and was it who started it?
So my dad bought the funeral home from a guy.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And then we continued the family-owned tradition. That's a big deal in the funeral home world, is having funeral homes that you trust and know that are owned by families. Okay. A lot of times they are passed down or bought from other family members, but that has been changing recently.
So what was that like as a child?
As a child, it was so normal to me.
Yeah.
I had a really happy childhood. I loved growing up at the funeral home. My sister and I, we used to ride our trikes in the parking lot. We had this huge parking lot.
Yeah.
We just ride for hours. We also used to play hide and go seek in the casket room. That was like a big part of my childhood. So in the 90s, the caskets have these skirts that go all the way around the bottom, and they're all on wheels. And so we'd go in the casket showroom and we'd hide underneath the caskets. And then as my dad would go by, we'd grab his legs and then scare the shit out of him.
Wow. So you literally grew up in the funeral home and you loved it. It was happy. Death didn't scare you as a kid, or?
No. Honestly, I don't know if I fully understood it when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I would see people in the back. I would see people in the back. They'd be on the dressing tables. My dad would describe to me, how they had died, and like tried to, and for me, it was just so normal to see them back there that it was never weird. But I do remember when my childhood best friend, her mom died of breast cancer.
Okay.
And I remember seeing her in the casket, and I just remember walking up. I was probably 7, maybe 7. And I realized then that people I know could die. People that I love could die. And I don't feel like a lot of children grow up all of a sudden realizing that, or they're just traumatized because they go to a funeral and grandpa was up front in the casket. And for me, because I had been around death, it really was it wasn't a scary moment for me. So I kind of have a unique situation where I've just been around it my whole life, and it's so normal to talk about. Yeah. And I really do enjoy talking about it and just normalizing death.
Normalizing death. So I'm assuming you're not scared of dying yourself.
No, actually dying, no. The act of dying, I'm definitely not looking forward to.
Yeah.
However, no, I am not afraid to die.
What's the craziest experience you've had around, I don't know, do you pick up the bodies? Mm-hmm. Okay, just take me through that. Like, what are all your responsibilities? You pick them up, you put makeup on them, you do it all?
We do it all. Yep, I do it all. Mm-hmm.
You do it all.
So a big part of being a mortician or a funeral director is being on call. So we are on call. We have a rotating schedule, but usually it's like you're on call all the time. Especially if you work at a small firm like I do, like for my family, it's just me and my dad. So we would rotate being on call. and meeting with families. And you go on all different types of death calls. So people at their houses, nursing homes, hospitals, maybe in the woods, all different kinds. And then we bring them back to the funeral home, or we bring them for autopsy. And then we pick them up, bring them back to the funeral home, meet with the family, write obituaries, maybe do embalming, do cremations. We have crematory, and just about everything from start to finish. Funerals.
Wow.
Calling the lunch ladies and ordering the hot dishes.
Whoa. Do you do their makeup?
Yes, and their makeup. We do all of the fancy, term that I might say a couple times is applying the cosmetics. Mortuary makeup is a little bit different than our normal makeup. However, we all have our stashes of just like normal makeup from the drugstore that we use, that we actually prefer to use over the mortuary makeup. So
wow.
Cosmetics just makes it sound fancy.
So what was the most insane pickup or the most insane call that you've had through the years?
So when I was in college,
Yeah.
I actually lived above a funeral home in downtown Minneapolis.
Okay.
And
because you were like, this is comfortable. I want to be here.
Yep, felt like home. And it was really convenient too, because I'd go to pick people up and then I could just go right back to the funeral home. Didn't have to, there's no commuting. It's just right back. But a big part of my job, so I did what's called coroner calls. So those are the really sudden deaths. So that would be like a homicide, suicide, accidental, maybe a car accident, motorcycle accident. So really what I'm trying to tell you is they are the worst types of deaths you could possibly go on. And I did that.
And they're called coroner calls?
Yep, but I am technically called the transporter. So the coroner is a separate position, and then my job was just to show up with the van, the cot, the body bag, the body tag, and everything that we need to get that person, the deceased individual, in my van, in the bag, and then to the medical examiner's office for autopsy.
Okay.
So the funeral home that I worked at had a contract with lots of counties that it covered. So the worst deaths, so circling back to your question, it's really hard to nail down just one for me. That I would say,
couple.
There's quite a few. I think that the worst ones that I've ever been on are definitely car accidents, I would say, especially if they're young. Maybe I've been on some where they were looking at their cell phones, they look down at the phone and they're middle of a text message, and we get there and we can still, the phone's still open, it didn't lock. We'll get there, and even for me sometimes it's still weird to get there and know that they were alive that morning and they woke up and they were not planning to meet me that evening. I've gone on somewhere, the police officers, they will find a car seat, and the accident will be so bad, there'll be so many pieces of everything everywhere, that the officer asked me to help look and make sure that there wasn't a child in the wreckage. I'll never ride in a motorhome. I've seen what can happen. They'll just fall apart. They just...
In a motorhome? Really?
Yep.
What should we never do?
I would never ride a motorcycle.
Never ride a motorcycle. And I remember in a video you said, especially not with someone else.
Especially not with somebody else. I've picked up so many couples. They'll ride Harley together, they'll ride motorcycle together, and they'll leave the kids at home with grandma and they never come home. And instead I have to bag, tag, and load them in my van and then bring them for autopsy, both of them together. And
you said that there's been a lot of those cases.
Pretty much like every holiday, major holiday.
Get out of here.
Memorial Day weekend was actually the most deaths I've ever had on one holiday. I had in like a small county, mind you, it was small. I think I had a dozen in one day. I did not sleep. I hardly got to eat. Just go, go, go. And I was the only one covering the funeral home.
Get the hell out of here.
They weren't all motorcycle accidents, but I mean, just a ton of death all in one day. For some reason, holidays are really busy.
What were the dozen in a day?
I went back to a nursing home 2 times. Motorcycle accident. I had another person get hit by a car. I mean, it was like the Grim Reaper was just out in full force on that Monday. It was just like somebody fell down at home and nobody checked on them, and they were there for a couple weeks. So really it's all different sides of it. It can be wild. You see lots of different situations, especially if you're doing those corner calls and you're going all over the state. When there's the thing about death is it doesn't wait. It happens when it happens. You most of the time can't plan for it, and so you just go.
Wow. Do you go to therapy?
I should, but I don't.
You should. Mm-hmm. Like, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot for you.
When you do this job, I think my best friend is disassociation.
I can relate to that, and I don't pick up dead bodies for a living. I love to dissociate.
Yes.
Well, it's necessary.
It's
sometimes.
necessary. It's absolutely necessary.
With certain types of trauma. And
when you're in the back and you have a mother and her 3 children who all died in a car accident, you don't get to go home until all of them are embalmed and ready for the next day for the next person coming in. You don't get to go home until it's done. So you flip the switch, you turn it off, and you just get the job done and do what needs to be done. Mental health is not talked about enough in this profession.
Wow.
And there's a very high turnover rate for morticians and funeral directors. They go and do something else because we just don't have, our employers just constantly want us to work, and we just don't have the resources or the time to find therapy.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. So you then transitioned into a content creator this past year or this past few years? Or?
I really went a little bit more full-time with it about a year ago. I started posting in 2021 though. Ghost stories is actually what I started posting. I was posting about things that happened to me in the morgue when I was doing the corner calls during college.
Tell me some of those.
I could definitely tell you one of those.
So ghosts are real? Without a doubt?
Without a doubt.
Without
a question of a doubt.
You sure? Mm-hmm. Really? Because there's been times where I'm like, and then I doubt myself and go, no, that's not real. But you're here to say.
I know it's hard, especially when we're all raised and we're all told about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, and then, ghosts, it's just one more thing that you think is a bunch of bullshit. And it's my dad is very skeptical, and he's been around a funeral home the whole time. He did not believe me when I would tell him what would happen to me, and I would try to tell him because I didn't have anybody else to talk to that really understood what I was going through.
Yeah.
But I had a call. This was when I was in college, and it was for a mother who had passed away in her home. She had substance abuse problems. Mm-hmm. And so her death was very sudden and unexpected. And the grandparents came and cared for the child. But it was my job to go and pick her up and bring her to the medical examiner's office. So by the time I got to the medical examiner's office, it's about 3 a.m. And anytime something is going to happen to me, it is always in the middle of the night. So I roll my cot out of my van. I roll it we have a little receiving area. And then I have to pull her over onto the table, get a weight, and then log her in the book. As I'm doing that, I realize I have to go to the bathroom, which is common, especially when you do this job, you do a lot of driving. So I ran over to the bathroom and I shut the door. And I'm going number 1. And all of a sudden, I hear this noise of thud, thud, thud. Something is hitting a metal table, and it's like making that reverberating. I can't even say that word, that noise. Mm-hmm. And I stop going midstream. I'm sitting there going, what the fuck was that? I am alone. It's 3 a.m. There's nobody else in this building. And that noise was not possible because I had her body on that metal table. There was no reason for that noise to have ever happened or to have occurred. I was so scared. Yeah. I walked out in that room, and it was colder than what I had walked out of. Yeah. I was shaking. I was shaking so hard. I ran. I pushed that cart with her on it so fast into the cooler. I opened the door. I put her in the cooler very gently. Yeah. Slammed the door and ran out of there. Whoa. And the only thing that I could think of was that I'm a very big believer that we follow our bodies after we die. I think that we are given that choice. And that's another story, but I believe that we are given that choice. And I think that she was really upset that she had died. And she was expressing that to me at 3 a.m. in the morning at the morgue.
Whoa. Because what else would that noise have been?
There is nothing. I brought so many hundreds and hundreds of people to that morgue, and there were other times, so I ended up just,
really
every
sad.
time I would go there, I would blast my radio. So I wouldn't hear anything if something decided to make some noises while I was in there.
Whoa.
But they're not dumb, they get smart.
What else do they do?
Throw stuff off the broom goes flying, the mop tips over, nobody's in there. Just but me, there's nobody else in the building. I've talked about this one before too. This one's also really sad.
It's okay.
They're all really sad, but it is a little bit therapeutic for me to talk about it. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
I've talked about this one on my channel too, but I was transporting a minor who had drowned, and so it was very sudden, another very sudden death. They're all really sudden when you're dealing. And as I was standing there logging them into the book, I heard a child sneaking up on me down the hallway from behind me. And I froze, like just, I'm in the middle of writing, all the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, and I hear, it sounds like they're trying to sneak up on me, tap, 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 tap. And the minute I dropped my pen, the foot stopped. And I was playing chicken with a ghost because I wasn't going to turn around because I was too scared to turn around. And I heard the footprints stop, spin, and go back down the hallway the other direction. And I waited a whole nother couple minutes before I did what I needed to do and got out of there.
Wow.
So I am a very big believer that we can follow our bodies after we die.
Wow.
It's wild. I hope that brings people comfort too. I don't know if it does, but sometimes I'm told it does.
And what do you think? Is it their spirits?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're following their body because maybe they weren't ready?
I think so.
And then what? Then where do they go? Do you have theories on that? Do you believe in reincarnation? Are you religious? What do you believe happens when we die?
So when I was growing up in the funeral home, I was one of those children where I would tell my mom really weird facts that I shouldn't know.
Okay.
So I was kind of the child that scared her a little bit. I think she knew she was in for a wild ride when I was born.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, I told her that when I was in heaven, or when I was in the other place, is what I called it, I got to choose her to be my mom. And that I was sent to her and got to choose her because I was there to help her with her life, and that she was going to need me. And I was probably maybe 5.
Whoa. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Mm-hmm. I talked early, I walked early. I would tell her really random facts about Egypt and history, things that I shouldn't know about pyramids. One day came on the TV and I said, "Oh, Mom, that's called this pyramid." And she looked at me and she said, "How do you know that?" Because we weren't talking about that in school.
So reincarnation?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I believe in that, definitely.
Yeah.
I was watching Barney and then all of a sudden pulling out Egyptian facts out of my ass. Like, my mom's like, "Who are you? What have you done with my child?" And my imaginary friends at the funeral home too. So
the ghosts.
Between all that. Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so then are you still right now working as a mortician, or have you fully moved into content creation?
So actually, I like to say that my full-time job right now is a mother.
Okay.
Because that's what I do. I stay home with my 2 kids. That was probably the toughest decision I have ever made in my entire life, but the easiest decision I've ever made.
What's harder, being a mortician or a mother?
I've never had anybody ask me that before. I don't know. Because they're hard.
Right.
Both of them are so hard, but they're hard for different reasons.
Yes.
When I was working full-time as a mortician, I was missing out on a lot with my kids. And growing up as a mortician's daughter, my dad also missed out on so much with us. But if you would have asked me in college, "Do you think you'll stay home with your kids?" I would have looked at you and said, "Fuck no. I will not stay home with my kids. I'm not that kind of girl. I am a strong, independent woman, and I'm going to work. and I'll find a man to stay home. I mean, that would have been me. That's literally what I would have told you. And then doing this job as a career, and all of a sudden I'm burying women that wanted to be mothers, that didn't get the chance to become mothers. I'm missing out on watching my son grow. And it really messed with me. It really messed with me. And I decided that I wanted to take some time and just be a mom. So we sold everything. We sold our house, we sold our car. We moved to a smaller home. It was a huge sacrifice. And I would do it all over again because I'm so grateful to be where I'm at today and be home with them.
That's incredible. And then you can share all these incredible experiences with the world, which is really cool. And here you are in LA sharing it with me.
Yeah,
That's
wild.
Really awesome.
So the content creation is definitely, I think people don't realize how much of a full-time job that really is too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So thank God for my mom because my mom is super helpful, and that's part of the reason I moved to Florida as well, because she's there.
It's very helpful. My mom's here right now. She comes out like once a month, and it's honestly everything just to have.
Oh, you are so appreciated and you are so loved.
Yeah.
That is, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without my mom.
No, absolutely.
We need breaks, like as moms. Like I love my kids, but damn, we need breaks, you know.
And you have 2 kids, 5 and...
5 and just turned 3.
I love that you had to think about it. That's just such mom brain. It's
So-
what is there?
It's like if you ask me how old I am before
I
I
know.
turned 30, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm 21.
Yeah.
You don't, and then like 30 is that big milestone. I mean, you ask me in 5 years, I'll probably still tell you I'm 30.
But you make a lot of content about, death, things to avoid, right? Like I saw like texting and driving was a big one, motorcycles. What are the other things that we should just absolutely never, ever, ever do?
Those ones are really my big ones.
Okay.
I'm like a really big advocate about that.
Okay. And then child safety stuff you cover too.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that's from experiences you've had.
Yeah, the child safety stuff was so weird. So that started back in December. I made a video. It went a little viral. It went really viral because when Daily Mail calls, it's normally a big thing. And I talked about toys that I don't allow in my house.
Okay.
And that started questions of like, well, why don't you allow this? Why don't you do this? And my dad was actually a paramedic before he was a funeral director. So I was just raised with some of those items that we just didn't have. Like my dad has a list. We just,
Sure.
And so now I have a list. And when you get into this job as a mortician, you become very aware of what can be dangerous in your home that you might not know.
That most of us would just never think about. We have how many minutes, Chris? Okay, why don't we just cut and start? I want to learn how not to die.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I feel like my dead inside matches your dead inside.
Absolutely.
I feel like we might be soul sisters.
Are you neurospicy?
Neurospicy?
Yeah.
Tell me what that.
I said.
You're
What is-
neurodivergent, or neuro diverse, so like ADHD or autistic or OCD or...
ADHD.
Okay, there you go. I knew you were something.
Yep.
I just only vibe with neurospicies.
Yep.
And then you've got neurotypical, which is like the normal brain.
Yep.
Which I don't understand.
We just don't vibe.
I don't get it. So ADHD, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing about death, when you talk about it with people, and then when you meet with them, like when they come in and their loved one has died, death doesn't feel good. Death doesn't feel good. They don't like to. Some people, they don't want to spend money on that. It's a sudden, really expensive cost. Versus if you go and buy a new car and you get in that car, you're in debt over that car, but you get in that car and it smells like a new car and you're driving that car. That feels good. That feels good. You don't think about too much about all that debt you have to have, but death doesn't feel good. It's one of those things that's inevitable. It's for everybody. It's going to happen to everybody, every single person, everybody in this room. And it's one of the things we're all going to die one day. We're all going to die one day.
We're all gonna die.
And that's why we should talk about it. We should talk about it. We should normalize it.
Yes.
Because it's such a taboo topic. It drives me nuts that it is. And it's so normal. And when you get called morbid for it, I was bullied growing up because I just was different from the other kids.
There's this one, and I want to hear more about that. But before I forget, there's this one spiritual teacher I saw on a TikTok, so it must be true. He talks about, he believes that we should remind ourselves we're going to die like once an hour. He's like, just once an hour, just remind yourself you're going to die. It'll just like make you appreciate your life that much more. And I feel like you being confronted with so much death, do you feel it makes you appreciate each day you have or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I was postpartum, I'd say no.
Same, girl, same.
Depressed as
No,
fuck.
same.
No, but
Yeah.
Definitely now, when you get out of that postmortem fog and you start to find yourself again as a mom, yes. I almost feel like I kind of have a gift. Like it's a gift. It's a gift to appreciate life and to live it how you want to live it, and not be so influenced or afraid to live your life. And so I am a very accepting person of people, even if you have different views from me. I don't care. That's your life and you can live it the way that you want to live it.
But you were bullied as a kid. Why?
I was different.
Yeah.
I talked about things that were different.
They were all talking about like recess and playing you guys, and you're like, hey guys, you want to hear about this dead person I just picked up?
Do you guys want to come back to my house and ride bikes in the funeral home parking lot? You want to go casket surf? You
guys want a casket surf? I love that.
No, I just and I'm just kind of one of those people where I was never one to have a big group of friends. I always had just a smaller group of friends, and that followed me into adulthood today too. And I actually kind of like that because I'm a hermit a little bit.
Yeah, I can identify with that. Mm-hmm. Wait, what else were we saying? There was something else. What was it?
Toys?
Yes, the list. Okay, so you talk a lot about child safety from experiences you've had with children
some
passing,
of them. Mm-hmm.
Some, and then also your father. So what is that list? Break it down for us mamas and parents out there.
So it's been a little while since I've looked at that list that I made from back in December.
What are a few that...
I have some rules.
Okay.
So rules are that if the kids are in the pool, we're in the pool.
Okay.
We now have gotten a pool fence because I saw how you have one. So I also got one.
Nice.
And just because, kids are kids and they're fast and they're sneaky.
Yes.
And we don't have any toys with strings on them. I monitor how long the strings are because kids can get wound up in things very quickly.
Girl, I was out to brunch with my kids and their dad and their grandparents, and I literally turned to the right and then I turned to the left. Like I just turned to look at the waitress and I turned to the left, and Poppy had taken the string from the blinds because we were like at an outdoor patio, but it's like indoor outdoor, and there was a loopy string and she had just grabbed it and put it around her neck.
Oh my gosh.
And I turned and there she is like, hey, I'm like, oh! But it was like 1 second I turned and she's like, got a freaking,
Yep.
Anyway, so
that's a huge one. Yeah. Blinds with cords. We don't have blinds with cords in our house.
Yeah.
We didn't do the stupid teething necklaces.
And if she just fell off that chair, but okay, sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
No, and it happens that fast. And when parents on TikTok go to talk about that stuff, you're immediately deemed a bad mom. Mm-hmm. When you're not a bad mom, that stuff just happens, and it can happen to the best of parents really fast. Yeah. So it's just best, I have found, when I made that list, just to not have these things, and then I don't have to worry, and then it's just a safe place for them. Now, it's the same as like the outlet covers on your outlets, and making sure that they're not going to hurt themselves. But what's so sad as parents is there's so many of these products on the market that
water beads.
Water beads.
I used to have those. I didn't know.
Kids. Yeah, we don't have those either. That's also on the list. Fuck water beads.
Fuck water beads.
Fuck water beads.
Hey, water beads. Fuck you. I used to have you, but I won't anymore because they can choke. Gets lodged in their throat.
Yeah, and actually, so I do experiments on my channel too, and I took a water bead and I put it down a tube, and within 2 hours, it had blocked the tube that I had put it down. So it can cause intestinal blockages in your area and in your child. And there was actually a child, I think up in Wisconsin, that just passed from a water bead, ingesting a water bead. They can also, there is a lady, her platform's called the Water Bead Lady.
Whoa.
And her daughter has she was poisoned by the beads, like a neurological, and they're supposed to be non-toxic. It's bullshit. They're not fucking non-toxic. They're
Can you believe that, Mom?
toxic shit. And there's so many other safe alternatives, but we don't know as parents. And if we don't talk about this shit, I get really upset about it because I'm just like, if we don't talk about it, so that's what I've kind of done on my platform is if you want to talk about something, if you want to talk about the blinds, if you want to talk about the water beads, they'll tag me in videos and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. And I just wanted to have like one place like as a resource that we talk about it. And now it's kind of turned into they tag me in everything and want to know what I think about it. And I kind of love it.
Well, you have a child on the spectrum as well. Mm-hmm. And I saw in another one of your videos, the safety bed. And I wanted to talk about that because my son, who's on the spectrum, has recently started eloping more than he ever has before. So he used to sleep, he has like a toddler big boy bed, we call it, you know, it's not a safety bed. And he's always come straight to me in the morning, bubble bath. And, you know, and it's like, okay, well, pee-pee mommy. And then it's bubble bath. And I'm like, okay, you can go pee-pee. No, pee-pee mommy. I must watch.
Pee-pee mommy.
I must watch. But yeah, so now he wakes up 3 a.m. I think I'll go outside and play.
No.
Yes, he wants to go explore.
Oh, no.
Terrifying. And so I now never not have this massive alarm on that it's just like, woo, woo, woo. And I wake up and I run and I grab him. I say, back to big boy bed, and he knows and he comes back. And then now it's like I can catch him, but it's terrifying. And I guess my point is, do you have an eloper as well? How do you deal with that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we have a safety bed for him. We had
which is like a tent, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, like a tent. And that gives me so much peace of mind. Like you totally need one. You will sleep so much better.
You mean better than the 3 times a night? Which Poppy miraculously sleeps through.
Much better. Oh my gosh, she does.
Yeah. And then if I don't turn it off in 5 minutes, the cops are called. And then I'm like, well, do I let the cops come scared straight? Just get them in the back of the squad car.
Yeah.
Can you arrest a 4-year-old? No,
for eloping. He'll be in therapy.
That was a joke. That was a joke. Okay, that was a joke. Don't cancel me. I'm not going to arrest my 4-year-old. Okay, that was a joke.
We do dark humor here.
Okay, thank you. I mean, maybe just a couple hours at the station.
Free childcare.
I need a break. Okay. Take them in. Do you guys have any tiny handcuffs?
Here's the snacks.
They're gluten-free.
Vegan.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have vegan snacks in jail? He only eats red apples that are perfectly peeled. If you guys can accommodate. Yeah. I just need to ask the prison if they can. Okay. Anyway, but so the safety bed, the tent, you sleep better and yeah.
Just recently, we've transitioned away from the safety bed.
Oh, okay.
But we had for
that
years.
Was helpful for, okay.
And he now views, I actually kind of credit the safety bed for this. He views his room as a safe place.
Love.
So he'll wait for us in the mornings to come and get him. Now, if that changes, I will immediately, we'll go right back. Yeah. Because, I have extra locks on my doors. We have the security. I've got the locks up high.
Same.
So he can't get out.
But does he not MacGyver that shit? Because I've got like 10 locks on the top and he just finds chairs and things and like unlocks all of them. Like he will figure out any lock.
Oh my gosh, you have to get the sneaky ones, like the foot pedal ones, or mine are like see-through and they so you can't actually see them, so they don't see what I'm doing. I'll show you. It's on Amazon.
I need sneaky locks.
It's just like a little plastic piece, and we've got two of those on the door actually.
Wow. And what about your 3-year-old? Are they totally different personalities?
Totally different. Totally flipping different. 3-year-old's actually talking more than my 5-year-old, and it's actually been helping my 5-year-old talk more. Yeah. It's really interesting. I love to see it. And as my youngest is getting older, they're having more friendship things. And so that's really heartwarming as a mom, especially if your child is autistic, as you probably know, because the affection can sometimes be hard for them. It's different. Yeah. They show it in different ways. Like the other day I was crying. I sneezed in my house and my son goes, bless you, Mama.
Oh,
It never calls me Mama.
wow.
I probably sit here and cry about it now. And so it's just, yeah, like the little things.
Totally. I relate to that so much. Yeah. Let me pull some questions up from the old audience.
Are we doing okay? I don't have anywhere to be, so.
We're doing great.
I'm having fun.
We're
Hope
doing.
you guys are having fun.
We are doing wonderful. So, okay, there's a bunch of crazy questions here.
Go. All right. Love
Should
it.
anything?
Anything you want.
Wait,
Are you going to start out strong or kind of weak?
Dude.
Oh, your mom just made a face like I should limit you. I'm
Wait.
worried now.
Hold on. JC Bruce 68 says, "What is the absolute weirdest thing you've seen in the morgue?"
Oh my gosh. The weirdest thing I've seen in the morgue? You know, normally when they say stuff like that, they're like at the funeral home, like the weirdest. I don't know if she wants to know the weirdest death, but I mean, probably like the most bizarre is I had somebody electrocute themselves. It was so
How
bizarre.
did they do it?
It was like outside in their backyard. They were doing something they shouldn't have been doing. They probably shouldn't say. And then
What you gotta say? What were they doing?
honestly, it was so many years ago. He was digging, and he shouldn't have been digging.
He was digging.
And they say you're supposed to call before you dig.
Digging.
I don't remember what he was building, but
Oh, all right.
they have those like power lines and shit sometimes
Okay.
underground.
All right. All right. All right. So he was digging, and he got.
Yeah, sometimes my job literally is 1,000 Ways to Die. Do you remember that TV show?
Yes,
On
I do.
Spike?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, kind of seen a little bit of everything.
So he's digging. He gets electrocuted.
And actually, cut that one, Hannah.
Cut it.
The wildest one, I had a person that was struck by lightning.
Jeez.
And if you look it up online, you can see all the like webbing and stuff that actually happens when you are struck by lightning. And then it has to exit the body somewhere. So it might hit you in the top and then come out, down on your foot. And you can follow that. It gives me goosebumps to even talk about it because it's like you can just see it spiraling down and then out, and it's black where it comes out.
No.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
I don't play golf in the rain. That's also on the list.
Don't play golf in the rain.
Yeah. I'm like the girl with the death list.
What about never jump on the trampoline in the rain?
Yeah.
Because I totally did that as a
And
kid.
don't add soap. Oh God, the people that add soap they add soap to the trampoline, let their kids, and then that's just an emergency room visit waiting to happen.
Okay. Cheap Style Thrills says, "I'm terrified of dying in a fuckable condition and the mortician fucking my dead body." I'm so sorry.
That's why your mom made that face. She's looking at me now.
Just cheap Style Thrills have to worry about that?
Absolutely fucking not.
Okay.
And honestly, the mortician rate right now, we're like all of us graduating are mostly women. So the whole thing is shifting now. And
Wait, mostly women.
when I graduated, even back in I won't say what year, Hannah cut that. When I graduated, we had like 3 men, and all the rest of us were women.
Why is that? Because men are pussies?
Yeah. Wow. Not really. I think our society, just as a whole, we just don't talk about death enough. And family funeral homes aren't really cutting it very much anymore because we have these like the Walmarts of funeral service coming in and offering super cheap cremations. The cremation rate is also super high. It's like 60%. We're like across the nation.
Most people want to be cremated?
Most people want to be cremated.
What do you want to be?
I definitely don't want to be cremated.
You do not?
No.
Why?
I've cremated enough bodies, and I just, this might not bug somebody, but there's always a level of commingling that happens in the crematory.
Really?
Always, 100%. We actually have like waivers for them to sign, so they know that.
Get out of here. They're just mixed with others.
You might have a little bit of the person before and a little bit of the person before that.
I guess we're all one.
But and that might not bug somebody. Somebody might be like, I don't care. But, and I've had some people comment, they're like, oh, so you're saying I might have grandma and then somebody else's grandma and somebody else's, that's actually pretty cool. They didn't want to be alone anyways.
What about donating your body?
You can donate your body, but a lot of people like to do that because you get a free cremation.
Okay.
So when something's free, everybody wants to do it. So if you want to have that done.
Like a good deal, even if you're dead.
So if you want to have that done, you better pre-register because You better call the program you want to have it at and pre-register because they fill up quick.
But what do you want?
I go back and forth.
Okay.
I don't want to be involved. I'd rather just do like a natural burial.
For sure.
Have you heard of human composting? No. I just toured a place in Seattle called Return Home Human Composting. Oh my gosh, nicest people ever. One.
Really?
Two, the most interesting process. I was like blown away. I love science. My degree's in science, but I mean, I love science in general. And they are able to break a human body down in 60 to 90 days, roughly, maybe a little less than that.
Okay.
And you are made into compostable soil.
Wow.
You can plant with it. You could scatter it.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
I like that.
Yeah, very cool. So maybe that, or just a green burial. So you just take the body and you place it in the ground, no harsh chemicals, in less fossil fuels, and your body just returns naturally to the earth.
I like that.
But when I'm dead, like let's say I died young, my family's going to get to decide. So if I die,
why are they going to decide?
because your family does. I don't have a will or anything.
Right. So, right.
Do you have a will?
Sense. No, not yet.
What do you want done to you when you die?
The human composting sounds really, really cool. Because I don't know. Like, I don't really have a strong opinion on what yet,
Well, if you ever want to go to Seattle, I would love to go with you, and we could go and tour it. They would let us back there.
I mean, literally, that sounds like fun.
They are the nicest people I've ever met on this planet.
Just composting humans.
Just composting it up.
Friendliest little human composters you ever did meet.
Yeah, they're so it's like return home to the soil. We return home to the earth.
I love that.
Isn't that sweet?
And then we can be useful after we die. Okay. Do you see dead people or their spirits?
I think I'm more of a feeler. Like I feel them. I had a gentleman that died, and the whole time, I mean, the clocks were stopping randomly. The whole time that his body was at the funeral home, I did not feel alone. I'm paranoid. I'm looking behind my shoulder. I'm like, and I actually had to go and see a medium because they were following me home. And I asked her, I said, what do I do? What do I do? I can't, my anxiety was so bad. I said, I was doing dishes and then I look up and I see something in my garden and then it's gone. I said, I can't have them following me home. And she said, before you leave work, you have to declare that they have to stay there. You have to set a boundary out to the universe, to them, and they will stay. And they did.
You got to set boundaries with ghosts even?
Yeah, I know. God, we need therapy for the ghosts
Dude,
too.
Literally. I struggle to set boundaries with alive people.
I know.
And now I have to set them with ghosts?
At least normally they don't talk back.
Right. Okay.
That's the nice thing about the dead is they don't talk back.
They don't talk back.
And they can't hurt you. The dead can't hurt you.
So you've not heard a voice then?
Not like, come to me, my child, or anything like that.
Jeez. Okay.
But they let you know they're there.
Okay, ask her opinion on tree pod burials. I love this idea.
It's fake. It's not real.
What is it?
It's just a concept. So what they're talking about, so it was like this, some guy, some dude across the pond. He came up with this idea of turning people into trees. So it looks like a big pot. It would take up your whole rug. You put the body in it in the fetal position. You bury it, and then a tree sprouts from it. And your body, as it's decomposing naturally, would fertilize the tree. That was just a concept. It's not real.
Okay.
So, and I've also never had, I've served hundreds of families. I've never had somebody come in and say, I want the tree pod. Because I would have no idea where to order it from because it's not real yet. They're thinking about
But is it possible?
No.
Okay, it's just a fun idea.
No, because the human body, the way we naturally decompose, isn't going to be the best way for the tree to grow.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
The tree's going to be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, this is disgusting. I don't want to eat this. What is this, human?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I don't like it.
no, give me some
like
fertilizer and some cow shit. Like they don't want our shit. We got enough shit. Yeah.
Totally. Okay, I get it. She is hot. LOL.
Thank you.
Not a question, but she is hot. LOL.
That's nice.
Okay, Betty Cracker.
Betty Cracker. What's Betty got to say?
Betty Cracker says, what is the most surprising thing you have ever encountered with a human corpse?
Gosh, I don't want to be depressing, but
Girl, we're already this fucking in deep. Just say it. Honestly.
When women die of breast cancer, sometimes you can see where the lumps are in their breasts.
Really?
And every time I would see that, it's just wild to me. My morbid brain, I would make sure to see what that looked like so I could identify it if I ever got breast cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me.
Wow.
So that's always wild to me. And just something that sticks with me.
Wow. Therapy. I was
Laura
genuinely,
Clary just told me I need therapy.
Yeah.
Her mom just gave me the thumbs up for the therapy.
Yes, Laura Clary's mom also thinks you need therapy. I need therapy just from this podcast episode. So you need therapy. No, but it's good. It's good to talk about this.
Yes. Yeah.
It really is. It's good to normalize it. And honestly, now I want to check my breasts more because I don't do that.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you have breasts, you should be doing monthly checks of your breasts.
Do you do it every month?
Every month.
I don't even have
Even
a
when
lot
I'm in the
going
shower.
on there.
When you're in the
you think
shower.
it'd be so easy
And you're
for
doing
me.
the body wash. Just check
Pat,
the
pat,
girls.
pat.
Yep, check the girls.
Check the girls.
Make sure you're going for your cervical exams too. If you're overdue for that, please fucking go. Please go. Once it's too far gone, it's too far gone. Just go, girl.
Go.
Or anybody with a vagina, please go.
What are the dumbest ways to die?
The dumbest ways to die. God, I might get called insensitive if I answer that one.
Yeah,
Probably not.
that's okay.
Sorry.
We don't care.
Honestly, in my opinion, the dumbest, I mean, I haven't picked somebody up that did this, but the dumbest way to die, have you seen those influencers that go to the super high places and take fucking photos?
Dumb.
Have you seen that? They go, they climb the skyscraper and then they're holding on with one arm, or the guy holds on the cliff. He's like, take my picture, bro. And no way.
And they're dying?
And they fall and they die. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy because, I mean, social media can be so addictive, and they'll go to any length to get those likes and get those views to the point where they will kill themselves.
Yep, kill themselves.
It's wild.
It's wild, and it's so dumb and just a waste of your life. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's just so unnecessary.
And then you'll have a bro in the comments that's gonna be like, "Oh, she doesn't live her life." It's like, dude, I do plenty of living. I don't need to go hang myself off a building to feel
for
an
a
adrenaline
selfie.
rush.
For a goddamn selfie. Okay, has any of your deceased ever made any bodily noises or appeared to move?
Yes, both of those actually.
What?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Tell you more.
Tell me more.
So when you get a fresh one, like they just die and maybe they're older, like fresh, like Dad always wanted embalming. You have the file at the funeral home. You're like, yes, they want embalming. And you bring them back to the funeral home, and if you're embalming within an hour of their death, sometimes muscles do twitch. And when we're embalming, normally, like if this is the table, I'm kind of over here, and I might take their arm and hang it off the table, and then I'll be here looking for arteries and veins, and artery and vein, one, singular, so I can do what I need to do for the embalming. And I don't know how it happened. I don't think it'll ever happen again. But I was messing around and the arm twitched and hit me right in the butt. So I got goosed by a dead guy.
You got your ass smacked.
Got a little smacky smack.
Get out.
Yeah, I had to do a little walk around the building and calm myself down because I thought he was still alive.
That's terrifying.
And then I had a little old lady. She looked like Betty White. And little Miss Betty. She was maybe 90 pounds soaking wet. And so what I have to do is I had to go pick her up in another funeral home and bring her back and do the cremation. So when you work at a funeral home, you might be the only one with crematory. So the other funeral homes are like, hey, can you cremate this person for me? And you're like, yes. And so even though you don't call the one with the crematory, they might be calling the one with the crematory and your mom might get cremated there. But anyways, I went to go pull her over from the table to my cot. And sometimes when you die, air can get trapped like in your throat or in your lungs. And so I went to pick her up and I propped her up a little bit too high, just a little bit too high. And she went right in my ear. I had her right here and she goes, ah. I was the last person to ever hear any noise that ever came out of her mouth through her vocal cords and everything. I dropped her. I just went, and she went thud right on the table, and I screamed bloody murder. And I got to do a little lap around the building.
Gotta do that
Gotta
lap.
do a little fucking lap and just calm myself and breathe. Do some Laura Clary deep breaths.
That's right.
And then come back. And she was still dead, so I did my thing. And yeah.
Wow.
Little Miss Betty. So now every time I go to move somebody, I'm like, and I'm anticipating it every time, because sometimes that happens, a lot of times actually.
You might get moaned at, you might get your ass smacked. You're anticipating this.
It gets your heartbeat going pretty good.
Wow. Where can everyone follow you?
So I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Lauren the Mortician.
Okay. Yeah. And it's all content about
death, dying, and child safety.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Live your life, because you only get one, and it's precious and it's a gift. Protect your babies, and tell somebody that you love them today, because you might not know. We never know when our time is up, and they might just need to hear that. So thank you so much for having me.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming. That was awesome.
I love you.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so much fun. I still can't believe we just did this.